Hello, everybody. And first of all, I would like to thank the American Acupuncture Council to put up this show. And I'm Dr. Yair Maimon. First of all, well, I chose to give a talk about quite an unusual topic, which is about tears. I think the reason that I chose to give a talk about to be interested in medicine, and particularly in Chinese medicine, I think the reason was to figure out and to understand what we are here for as humans. And one of the unique things about humans is that we are tear. We are the only one that have tears. And through some passages that I will just by accidentally read at the Suwen, I started to be interested more in what's the view of the classics on tears. And this exploration was actually quite interesting. And I think it explores and shows us the depth and the knowledge of this ancient medicine that we are following. So that's why I call this lecture on the virtue of tears in Chinese medicine. And this is one of the passages that we'll come across a few times during this lecture. It's chapter 81 of the Suen, that has an interesting view also on sadness and tears. And it says the Jing of water is Zi, and the Jing of fire is Shen. The interaction of water and fire causes sadness of both the Zi and the Shen. And that is why tears run out of the eyes. And already in this chapter, we are seeing a few, I think, key things about the thinking of Chinese medicine. We see water and fire meeting. And this is, by the way, the place at the eyes, as we will see, where water and fires are meeting, or the Jing and Shen, our deep individuality, which relies on our Jing and our deep understanding, which comes from the Zi and the wisdom, with our spirit, with our emotions and ability to feel things. So Jing and Shen are meeting in the eyes. And this is quite unique, and we'll see later also the interaction of the Jing and Shen through the heart with the different emotions, such as the sadness. And this is how tears are coming in sadness. But I want to explore, first of all, more the whole essence of tears, and then to go into different specific tears. And as I said, only human tears. And one of the deep aspects of being a human is being able to connect heaven and earth, being able to connect your Jing with your Shen, being able to transform something which is greater than us and put it into action, being able to have a perception of the world and both in physiology and pathology, but mainly we are interested in the physiology. So on the number one, on this very deep place, it is through this connection of the heart that connects us to the Shen is what makes us who we are special as humans. And through the connection of the Jing, which comes from our parents, it's what makes us so unique and different from each other. So in a way, we are connecting two worlds. One, which is very unique to us and special appearance, one in a time, which is me, to do with my Jing, and my Shen, which is the spirit, which is the ability to connect with something which is greater, and also to connect to other people, or to Shen generally, because Shen is in everything. Obviously in our fellow humans, but also Shen is part of everything that we exist around us. And the heart is the one that houses the Shen. And all the emotions are filtered through the heart. So immediately we see that on this heavenly level, the heart plays a very key role. Because when the heart is too full with emotion, then when the excess of chi flows to the eyes to form tears. And this is mentioned in two chapters in the Ling Shu, 28 and 36, that connects the heart and the eyes and the ability also to sense. The eyes, as we know, are called the windows of the spirit. So from the eyes, the heart is connected to the world around us. We receive and give through our eyes. By the way, also physiologically, this is the only live cells that we see. When we look at somebody, everything is dead cells. Our skin, dermis is dead. The eyes is the only live part that we are actually seeing, and the spark in the eye is this part of the Shen that shows and manifests outside to the world. And as practitioners of Chinese medicine, this will be the first thing that we will notice. And this is the first communication that we are connecting through the eyes to the Shen. And the eyes and the Shen are connected to the heart, and the heart to the emotions. So when the heart is too full, then there is an overflow of qi to the eyes. There is even a mentioning in the Ling Shu of this ancestral pathway, the ancestral Mai, this pathway that comes from the heart to the eyes to form tears. So on a very deep kind of level, this is the way we express this excess of emotion through the heart that is filtering all type of emotions. And in Suan 81, it says that the heart is the special, it's, is especially place where all the essences of all the five zangs are concentrated. And from there they flow to the eyes. And when human has a virtue, the qi in the eyes is harmonized. And this is also unique because you can see the virtue of the person also through the eyes. This is why I call this lecture also on the virtue, but also we will see on the suffering. So both will manifest through the eyes, through this connection of the Shen and heart and the eyes. And the eyes are also called, as you know, Shen Men, the same as heart 7, the gate of the Shen, or the gate of the spirit. And this is the place where the spirit enters and exits, and this is the place where we have an exchange. So interestingly enough, all the things are happening in the eyes and also the tears. So we are already building this deep understanding that the eyes have a special aspects in human life. They have a special importance, and it's to do with the Shen. But it's also to do with the Shen like it's a gate. So something is coming out and coming in from the eyes. And so the eyes is like a mirror of our spirit. And the eyes is also where the bladder channel starts. So the eyes is also where the Jing is connected. So this is the place. And if you think about tears, as you know, tears are fluid, they're water. They're actually manifestation of Jing. So this is again this place where Jing and Shen are meeting. So this very unique meeting of something very essential of life is happening in the eyes. If you look at the eyes, all the different aspects of the spirit are presented. And there's different way to understand and diagnose the eyes, but the inner counter is to do with the Shen, or also with the heart. The white of the heart is to do with the Po or with the lung. The pupil itself is to do with the Z or the kidney. And we know when there is a lot of fear, the pupil grow. And when the pupil is over dilated all the time, it shows that something in the Z, in the Jing, in the kidney is wrong. Also, when you see that people were drug abused or were traumatized or even had trauma in the past, you will see the size of the pupil slightly enlarged. And the colors of the eyes is to do with the Hun and the liver, and then the eyelids are to do more with the Yi. And bladder 1 is really another place that we have to investigate and understand, because bladder 1 is where the tears are drained from. This is the area where there is this manifestation of the Jing, the manifestation of the brightness, and also the watering of the eyes come from that area. So interestingly enough, the kidney channel starts at kidney 1 at the bottom of the foot. And the bladder channel, which is the yang of the water and the yin of the water, starts in the eyes. I'm doing another work to in kind of, we're looking with another two colleagues. Maybe if you heard my other lectures, we are talking about unfolding all the deeper dynamic of the meridian system and understanding the inner alchemy, especially the inner alchemy, the Taoistic alchemy, which is behind the channels and the points. So this is one of the places you can see that there is a deep form of exchange to do with the water and fire and to do with the kidney and bladder. And that's why bladder one starts at the eye and kidney one starts at the bottom of our feet and in the earth. So you see that the yin and yang of water, who have an interplay with Jing and with our inner essences, are one of them is starting in the eye and one is starting at the basic connection to earth. So understanding bladder one is also to do with understanding the mechanism of tears and the reason for human to tear. And it's called bright eyes or JingMing. And this is, if we look also anatomically, this is where the tear ducts are excreting the tears from their formation area. So, and by the way, one of the great treatment for blocked tear ducts, especially in children, can be bladder 67 or small intestine 1. But bladder 67 is the one we'll use very often and is very effective to unblocking the duct in the eye. And this is the reason why, because it's the opposite to bladder 1. So this is the place where this power of the Jing is manifesting and connecting with the power of the Shen. And this is, as we started, this place of human life, of connecting heaven and earth and connecting this deep human potential and expressing it to the world. Even if these words are sounding a bit big, but this is the true human design. And this is the design of the eyes. This is the design of the way we can express our deeper inner part. And this is also in the clinic, how we diagnose and see. And for the ancient Chinese who looked at the nature of man and the universe, and they were the one exploring the deep physiology of human life, this is one of the way to understand why bladder one is where it is. Bladder one, by the way, it's the place where all the yang channel are connected. It's one of the most connecting place for all the yang channel except for the large intestine. And this is the place where the yin qiao and yang qiao meet. And yin qiao and yang qiao are these extra meridians which are to do, again, with opening and closing your eyes, with moving from awareness and being awake to withdrawing and going in, from moving from the energy to moving up to the eyes and to the head, and the energy closing down at night. And so many things are to do with bladder one, and there's many treatments related to bladder one. Actually, one day maybe I'll do a webinar just on bladder one. I did on some points, because there's really many, especially extreme cases of insomnia, of epilepsy, and narcolepsy, and others that can be treated with bladder one. It's a point that I use in the clinic. I can't say very often, but I use it quite often. And many people are afraid to needle it, but it's a very transformative point. As all acupuncture is very transformative. So it affects the pituitary gland, by the way. So it has many, many functions, and it explains also the location of the point and all the meridians that are meeting there. And that's why it has such a large implication. So until now, we kind of explore the eyes, bladder one, and human on this very, I can say, deep aspect of being a human, of connecting heaven and earth, and the deepest aspect of being able to connect and express heaven. And in the other part of the lecture, I want to move into the man level and into the earth level. And on the man level, so we are moving into the number 5. Man level is always expressed on the number 5. And this is the 5 element, but all the other aspects of deeply understanding number 5. And when we move later to the earth level, we'll move to the Jing and water. And this is our deep essence and our individuality. So, so when we'll move to this Jing level and our individuality, we can again quote Suen 81, and it says, tears is the supreme yin, the very pure essence of the kidney, the water of the ancestral essence that come up. And that's why a lot of time you can feel that your heart that your eyes are full of tears when you have certain memories. Sometimes it's a clear memory, but sometimes it's kind of, you can see a movie, you can see something, and suddenly your eyes are full with tears and you didn't even understand why. But something in you is recognizing something, recognizing the scene, recognizing the something which is going on, because it's to do with our Jing, with our ancestral energy that has also a feeling of our ancestral life. And because we do carry all our ancestors in our Jing. So this is the pure, very pure aspect of the yin, of the Jing, which is manifesting on the level of the eyes. And it manifests something which is to do with our own, I can say, story here on this earth, our own individual lineage and transformation. And so again, we talked about heaven. Now I talked in this last sentence a little bit about the Jing and individuality. And now I want to move into this 5 aspects of how as men we experienced the tears, and how tears are manifesting on the men level. On the men level is to do with our emotions, with the way the emotions are moving through the heart. There are 7 emotions, but really you can look at the 5 main physiological emotions, which is to do with the 5 elements. And this is the movement of these emotions are moving through the hearts, and each one of them actually manifests in tears. So we have really 5 different types of tears. And it's interesting because I read quite a lot about tears, and then there is a lot of research. You'll be surprised how much research there is about tears. And different tears contain different substances, and there's many substances in tears. There is hormones like prolactin, there's enkephalins, there is corticosteroid hormones. Enkephalins, for example, are natural painkillers, and tears are actually seen as a powerful pain relief. And you know, when people are in great pain, and the child, it's very, and they suddenly bring tears, and suddenly there is a dramatic pain relief. So, and the crying also, this is again more from Western medicine, sends many signals to the brain, and some of them are signals that are relieving pain. And that's why when there is extreme pain, people will tear, or even a heart pain, but also a physical pain. And people who can tear, they have this natural pain relief effect from the tears. So suddenly the tears themselves are enhancing this pain relief. But tears overall are relieving pain. And when we go deeper, this is another reason why we tear, is because of some pain, either inner pain or external pain. The tears that we all are very always know, it's the grief, the tears of the lung. So this is the metal tears. And this is to do, as we also seen in the Suen 81 at the beginning, this is like the lung chi, the deep grief is pushing this tear out through this mechanism of the heart, and then we have these tears, and there are tears of sadness, tears of separation, but in a way we can also say that there are tears of letting go of something, of allowing ourselves through connecting through our Shen, of letting go of something and taking the beauty out of it and letting go of the physical part of it. Interestingly enough, again, also the pungent taste, like something which is very, very pungent will make you tear. And this is also to do with this mechanism of the lung that making this movement of fluids up to the eyes. And you know, if you eat something very, very pungent, you will get tears And this is to do with this mechanism. There is also the tears are connected to the all the openings, and also when there is tears, and before the tears there is also over watering of the nose, and you know that you get this sobby nose, and so these liquids are passing from the eyes also through the nasal cavity, and this is to do with the lung and to do with the metal. So it's very, sometimes you can even access tearing treat through metal and through the lung. An interesting passage also, it's when a person is very sad but doesn't cry. So the fluid doesn't come up to form of tears. This will injure the kidneys. And we know there is a whole process of over grief, or grief for over too long time will weaken the jing. So this is another connection of the lung to the kidney. Obviously, it's connected in breathing and the ability to breathe deep, but also from the eyes. So actually crying will enable to release and move the kidney jing in a positive way to connect to the lung. And this, in this sense, the tears from grief are physiological. And they are purifying and they're allowing space. And this is the main aspect of the lung, is to create space and to purify and to let go, and to, when there is sadness, there is an appropriate sympathy and ability to the difficulty to let go, but the tears are allowing this process to go naturally. And this is what helps us to grow. And if it's stuck, then the person is stuck, and there is lack of growth, and there is a lot of pathologies which are coming. Another interesting tears, the eyes are related to the liver, and there is many passages that relates to the liver and tears. And obviously wind, when there is wind, the eye will tear, and there is in Suan 23, this is mentioned. And also in Suan 42. So there is a lot of passages. If you start to look at the Neijing, there's many passages that slowly you can get a deeper understanding of tears and the nature of tears. Anger makes the chi go up, and the eyes relates to the liver and to the hun. So too much anger will also create tears. And this tears, by the way, the tears also from wind and also tears from allergy, which will be related to liver and wood, are to do with protection and also protecting the eyes. And it is interesting, there's been a research, actually even published research from the Weizmann Institute in Israel, and the researchers found that in women's tear, there is a substances which reduces testosterone in aggression. And they were even trying to develop this kind of spray with this substance against rapists and against rape. You know, so men who are aggressive, or so you can actually spray, and it reduces testosterone. And it does, you know, when a woman cry for a man, there is a reaction. But it's interesting that there is actually a substance that you can isolate, and and the substance itself reduces testosterone in men. And it has been also found out that emotionally, when women tear, it reduces the sexual arousals in men. There's been, by the way, a lot of research about tears, social aspects, emotional aspects, communicational aspects. Here we are focusing only on the Chinese medicine part, but believe me, the deeper I went into tears, I was shocked. You know, even there's a whole books about just research on tears. So, and anger and frustration will make the liver to tear, but also there is a tears of hope, of seeing the future, of suddenly being hopeful about something. So again, there will be these tears which relates to the wood. On every aspect, I'm trying to show you the negative tears, but also the positive tears. And there is the heart tears that are reflecting the also loneliness. Broken heart tears is one of the tears that many people experience. And this is the kind of classical way to see the relationship of the heart and the emotion of love and broken heart, because we say broken heart, but in Chinese medicine it actually has a meaning. It relates to the heart, and this overflow of emotions are going up to the eyes and create tears. But there is also the other aspects of tears of joy and laughter and being inspired and being touched by something. So it's the same, that these tears are related to the heart and our ability to joy and enjoy and laugh and share and be in a good spirit, which is to do with our hearts. So only human cry, and this reflects the virtue, our ability to connect, to get excited and to get inspired, but also it reflects the deepest pain in men. And this is like a small thing that I want to finish this lecture with, is explaining these different aspects of human pain that relates to tears. Because the emotions that are overflowing to the heart and are relating to, on one hand, pain, and also on a very deep aspect, also healing, are very specific. So I would like to kind of focus on the three different aspects: the tears that relates to pain, but also the tears that relates to compassion, and the tears that relates to healing. So here we are on a different level of explaining human tears. And as I said even before, also in research, it's been found out that tears are a pain reliever. But when the heart is overwhelmed with emotion, then the tears are coming and they're purifying and they're relieving the pain and they're enabling healing. They're also enabling us sometimes to suddenly understand and see something. And many people will experience that after they've been tearing, suddenly they can get a deeper insight into their emotion. And there is a tears of compassion. If we see another human in pain or in suffering, we are tearing in a way to ease their pain. We are tearing because we feel compassion close to their pain. And as human, this is the way we should relate to each other. We should feel compassion to each other, and we should try our best to alleviate somebody's pain. And this is the normal human behavior. If somebody doesn't tear, doesn't have feeling when somebody else is suffering, then it shows that something very deep on the mind level and on his emotions is altered, is not working well. I have few lectures just on these topics, which are explaining why humans are behaving sometimes so strangely. And even the Yellow Emperor mentioned in Summit 81, it says, no tear is because the spirit has no compassion. And if the spirits have no compassion, then the will has no sadness. So it is something very deep at this, on the human level, at this person, which is not working well. He has no compassion and no sadness and no ability to reflect it. And that's really explains a lot of psychiatric and psychotic situation. So we see that the tears of the heart are very unique, and the tears of the heart are this deep longing for oneness. The tears of the heart is deep ability to the heart to connect to the Shen. And this deep connection can bring healing and can bring our ability to not just to connect to something higher, but to connect to human experience overall. And this is, to me, I think, the place where I started to explore the whole aspect of tears, because I had a very deep feeling that this is to do with this uniqueness of man. And this tears of the heart is the most touching, this uniqueness of being this deep longing, or this deep feeling also of oneness, not just with the world, but with something which is greater than us. I have, by the way, some other lectures. Here I'm just really touching on this aspect of tears. So if you're interested, there's a very interesting lecture about these different types of depression, where I follow different, I actually taking the DSM-5, which is the way how you classify depression, and bringing it into the Chinese medical understanding. And my main interest in my own deepening my knowledge and ability to treat in Chinese medicine is focused either on Jing, where I'm interested in cancer and do a lot of research in cancer, but also how to communicate well to cancer patients, and on Shen, where I'm interested in how acupuncture can transform on the deepest level human life, both pathology on the physical level, but also on the mind and Shen level. So if you're interested, you can always visit the TCM Academy, where I've quite plenty of lecture there. So you're welcome to watch them. So this is like a bit more on tears. And to summarize, with the tears of the heart and the joy, I would like to leave this lecture on the happy note, especially in these times, when there is a lot of loneliness and isolation. We should connect more to joy and heart and communication. So from Shen to Shen, thank you very much. And all the best, and all the best of health to you all. This is another opportunity to thank the American Acupuncture Council to put up this show and to facilitate it for the benefit of our community. So thank you very much, and all the best, and see you soon.